Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. These were the words uttered by J. Robert Oppenheimer on July 16, 1945, after he'd witnessed his brainchild, the first atomic bomb, successfully detonate at the Trinity site in New Mexico. But Oppenheimer wasn't just a great physicist. He had a deep appreciation for literature and philosophy. He spoke various languages including French and Sanskrit, and he was an amazing teacher. However, when we think of Oppenheimer, we don't think about the life he lived, the people he loved, or the students he inspired. We think about the one thing he created that was capable of reducing thousands to dust in seconds. The invention that ultimately ruined his life. Who was the man behind the monster? How did his creation ruin his life? And just how many deaths weighed on his shoulders? This is Oppenheimer, Legacy of Death. Born on the 22nd of April, 1904 in New York City, United States, Julius Robert Oppenheimer's successful future was already assured. The son of a wealthy textile importer and a painter, Oppenheimer received a comfortable early life, and it was clear that he was exceptionally intelligent right from the get-go. He absorbed knowledge like a sponge, came home with soaring results and easily mastered mathematics. It is said that at age 15, he could already solve calculus problems more advanced than his age. Oppenheimer's academic excellence meant he had no problem getting into Harvard University. He had to enroll a year late as he suffered from colitis, an inflammatory reaction in the colon. This hick in his path did not stop him from excelling at Harvard, and it was here that he studied chemistry, philosophy, and physics, graduating in only 3 years. After he completed his undergraduate studies in 1925, he set his sights on a degree in physics. Although he'd started with a great love for both chemistry and physics and had initially intended to become a chemist, Oppenheimer did not pursue a PhD in the former. As he delved deeper into his studies, he found himself increasingly drawn to the theoretical and mathematical aspects of physics. After taking a course in thermodynamics at Harvard, his interests shifted towards physics, and the opportunity to interact and learn from leading physicists of his time, such as Max Born and Werner Heisenberg, was too appealing to pass up. After graduating from Harvard, he went to Cambridge University for research at the Cavendish Laboratory for Experimental Physics. However, Oppenheimer found that he had a natural inclination and aptitude for theoretical and mathematical aspects of physics rather than the experimental. Because he displayed exceptional skills in mathematical modeling and abstract thinking, he went on to study physics at the University of Göttingen in Germany, one of the most renowned centers of theoretical physics. There, he completed his PhD and ended up working under the renowned physicist Max Born. Oppenheimer returned to the States in 1929 and began teaching physics at the University of California, Berkeley. He conducted groundbreaking research in theoretical physics, particularly in the field of quantum mechanics. The work he did on the theory of electrons and positrons and quantum tunneling earned him recognition as one of the leading theoretical physicists of his time. And it was his brilliance that made him the ideal candidate for the Manhattan Project. The year was 1942. World War II had been raging on for 3 years, with no sign of the conflict stopping anytime soon. In June of that year, Oppenheimer received a phone call from General Leslie R. Groves. He was inviting Oppenheimer to take a leading role in the Manhattan Project, a top-secret U.S. government research program to develop atomic weapons. Perhaps if Oppenheimer had refused, the general would have moved on to the next brilliant physicists, or perhaps he would have been forced to comply. We will never know, because Oppenheimer accepted the invitation and set out to assemble a leading team of scientists and engineers to design and build the first atomic weapons. Groves appointed Oppenheimer as the director of the Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico, the primary site for the development of the atomic bomb, the place where the mass murderer was designed and constructed. Robert Oppenheimer was only 38 at the time, and he was still keen to take in all the world that physics had to offer. He had no idea that he just signed on to create the thing that would eventually ruin his life and end that of many others. Once work on the atomic bomb began, it became clear why Oppenheimer was perfect for this job. His expertise in nuclear physics and his reputation as a brilliant scientist meant that, for a project of that size, work went quickly. By 1945, the Los Alamos team had successfully developed the first atomic bomb under Oppenheimer's leadership. It was tested on July 16, 1945 at the Trinity site, and the moment the bomb went off, releasing a mushroom cloud of smoke and debris into the sky, Oppenheimer finally understood what he had created. As he stared face to face with his creation, he knew he had just handed the human race the one thing that could swiftly lead them to extinction. The immense destructive power of the atomic bomb chilled his very core, and all he could do was quote the Bhagavad Gita, saying, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The weight of responsibility hung heavy on his shoulders, and while his colleagues and superiors rejoiced for what would spell the end of the war, Oppenheimer mourned. On the 6th of August, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., the United States dropped an atomic bomb named Little Boy on the city of Hiroshima. The results were devastating. An estimated 70,000 to 80,000 lives were lost in an instant, reduced to nothing but rubble and ash the second the bomb hit the ground. Thousands died in the following days and weeks due to the effects of the radiation. Just 3 days later, on the 19th at 11:02 a.m., the United States dropped an atomic bomb called Fat Man on the city of Nagasaki, Japan. The explosion resulted in the deaths of approximately 40,000 to 75,000 people, with many more suffering from injuries and radiation poisoning. Japan formally surrendered on September 2, 1945, promptly ending the war. World War II was finally over, but the costs were great, and Oppenheimer saw the approximately 155,000 deaths that took place at Hiroshima and Nagasaki as his fault. Their blood was on his hands, and all the people who suffered the excruciating pain of radiation poisoning and died were gone because of him. After the war, Oppenheimer threw himself into making sure that the atomic bomb was never used again. He became the chairman of the influential General Advisory Committee of the newly established United States Atomic Energy Commission. He became an advocate for international control of nuclear weapons and was outspoken with his concerns about the development of hydrogen bombs. Oppenheimer played a crucial role in shaping U.S. nuclear policy and advocating for international control of nuclear weapons. However, as the Cold War rolled around, the man once applauded as a genius and hero became a communist spy. The McCarthy era is characterized by anti-communist sentiment and heightened political scrutiny. Oppenheimer did not escape that scrutiny. Robert Oppenheimer was never formally a member of any communist party. However, as he would admit, practically all of his friends were. Hakon Chevalier, Bernard Peters, Philip Morrison, and even his own brother Frank Oppenheimer and love interest Jean Tatlock were affiliated with communist and left-leaning groups, and Oppenheimer's political associations and alleged communist sympathies became a target of suspicion. In 1954, the Oppenheimer hearing of the Atomic Energy Commission came about to answer the question of whether or not his security clearance should be revoked. The vote resulted in a 4-1 majority in favor of revoking Oppenheimer's clearance. One of the people who voted in favor was Louis L. Strauss, a man who hated Oppenheimer. The lone dissenting vote came from Oppenheimer himself. The beginning of Oppenheimer's end had started with the atomic bomb, and things only kept getting worse. With his security clearance revoked, he had been professionally isolated, barred from classified government work, and was unable to contribute to nuclear weapons research. Fellow scientists decried this decision by the AEC. Einstein even wrote a letter to President Dwight D. Eisenhower defending Oppenheimer's character and emphasizing his outstanding contributions to science and his loyalty to the United States. But nothing changed. Oppenheimer had created death. He had lost his professional standing, and the intense scrutiny he faced from the government and the media took a toll on him. Instead of fighting for his position, Oppenheimer turned back to his passion for teaching and research. He held various academic positions at different institutions, including Princeton University and the Institute for Advanced Study. He continued to contribute to theoretical physics and made significant contributions to astrophysics and quantum field theory. Julius Robert Oppenheimer died on February 18, 1967, at the age of 62 in Princeton, New Jersey.